Good morning and a very warm welcome. You're watching the Breakfast Rundown on TV1. I'm Therunee Karunaratne. We're coming to you live and direct from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. Well, today is an important day for our government. The country will be getting a brand new speaker following the resignation of the former speaker last week. And also President Anurukumaran Dissanayaka's official Indian visit is set to conclude today. Last night he met with Indian President Draupadi Murmu. This morning on the Breakfast Rundown we also have an update regarding the new electricity tariff revision proposals brought forward by the CEB and also the counter proposal put forward by the PUCSL. We also have details on several other important local news items. And as far as international news is concerned, this morning's news come in from Germany, Canada as well as Syria. Stay tuned with us. We have all the news in detail. Let's move on to your top local story for this morning. Sri Lankan President Anurukumaran Dissanayaka, who is on a three-day official visit to India, met with Indian President Draupadi Murmu last night. During the presidential meeting, numerous diplomats representing both countries were present. The discussions focused on strengthening the long-standing Indo-Sri Lanka relationship as well as regional security. Indian President Draupadi Murmu emphasized the importance of Sri Lanka in India's neighbourhood-first policy and its vision for regional security and growth known as Sagar. She assured that India will steadfastly support Sri Lanka's efforts for sustainable economic development. She added that the commitment of both countries to strengthen their bilateral ties was clearly demonstrated through the joint statement that was signed last night. President Murmu expressed confidence that India's investment projects would aid Sri Lanka's economic recovery and stability. She also highlighted that this visit marks a fresh approach to advancing peaceful and prosperous relations between the two nations, with a focus on continued cooperation in maritime security. Now, following the discussions, President Anurukumaran Dissanayaka and his delegation joined a dinner reception upon the invitation of the Indian President. Meanwhile, the President is also scheduled to visit Bodh Gaya this morning. The President's media division says that President Dissanayaka is expected to return to the island this evening following the conclusion of his first official overseas visit after he assumed office to India. Well, let's move on to another very important local news item this morning. A new speaker is expected to be elected in Parliament today to fill the vacancy that was left by Asoka Ranwala following his resignation. This will take place at the Parliamentary session, which is scheduled to commence at 9:30 a.m. today. Several National List members of Parliament are also set to be sworn in today. Among them are 3 members nominated by the Samagi Jana Balavega's National List and 1 member nominated by the New Democratic Front's National List. And after the swearing-in, a new speaker will be elected. Parliament Secretary General Kushani Rohanadira stated that the National List MPs will take their oath before the Deputy Speaker. Subsequently, the letter sent by Asoka Ranwala, who resigned from his position of Speaker, will be presented to the Parliament by the Secretary General. Following this, in accordance with the constitutional procedures, a new speaker will be elected based on the proposals made by the parliamentarians today. Secretary General of Parliament Kushani Rohanadira added that a total of 4 MPs elected from the National List are expected to take their oath today. Meanwhile, a supplementary estimate for the provision of stationery items to school children will be discussed from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. today. Thereafter, from 3 p.m. to 6:30 p.m., a session concerning the restructuring of international sovereign bond securities, brought as an adjournment motion by the opposition leader, is scheduled to be debated as well. Let's move on to more local news now. 70,000 tourists have arrived in the country within the first 10 days of the month of December alone. Chairman of the Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority, Buddhika Parakramasinghe, said that by the end of December, approximately 200,000 tourists are expected to arrive in Sri Lanka. The highest number of tourists have arrived from India, Russia, the United Kingdom, France and Germany. The Tourism Development Authority also stated that nearly 1.9 million tourists have visited the country so far this year, and by the end of this year it is expected that around 2.2 million tourists will have arrived. Like I said before, we have an update this morning concerning the electricity tariff revision proposal that was initially put forward by the CEB, and then later on a counter proposal was put forward by the PUCSL. Well, public consultation on the electricity tariff revision counter proposal prepared by the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka will begin today. The counter proposal was drafted after studying several factors, including the initial electricity tariff proposal presented by the Ceylon Electricity Board, the report on fuel prices for electricity generation that was presented by the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation, as well as several other related issues. Now, opinions and proposals in writing will be accepted until the 8th of January 2025, and oral feedback will be collected through 9 sessions at provincial level, and this was announced by the Public Utilities Commission, of course. Written feedback regarding this proposal can be sent to info@pucsl.gov.lk. The public can also submit written feedback on the proposed electricity tariffs via WhatsApp to the number 076 427 1030. That number once again, 076 427 1030. Additionally, proposals can be submitted to the Public Utilities Commission via post as well. And however, the Ceylon Electricity Board had proposed maintaining the current electricity tariffs for the first 6 months of 2025 as well. Meanwhile, the Ceylon Electricity Board is set to sign an agreement with the Asian Development Bank for a loan of 200 million rupees the day after tomorrow. Media spokesman for the Ceylon Electricity Board, Dhanushka Parakramasinghe, stated that the loan will be utilized to expand electricity distribution in the southern province by establishing 7 new power substations. Additionally, the loan will be used to expand the electricity transmission system from Mana to Anuradhapura via Habarana. Out of the 200 million rupee loan, 150 million rupees will be allocated for the CEB, with the remaining 50 million rupees proposed to be provided to the LECO company. Now, sluice gates have been opened in 31 major reservoirs in the country. Engineer Lahiruni Jaitilaka from the Department of Irrigation's Water Resources Division said that sluice gates have been opened in main reservoirs in the districts of Anuradhapura, Ampara, Badulla and Hambantota. The total water volume in these reservoirs has now risen to 80.2%. Let's move on to your weather update for this morning. The Met Department says that the low pressure area over the southwest Bay of Bengal is currently located to the east of the island, and it is expected to gradually move west-northwestwards, moving towards the Tamil Nadu coast near the northern coast of Sri Lanka during the next 48 hours. Well, let's move on to your weather forecast. Just like that, cloudy skies can be expected over most parts of the island today. The Met Department also says that showers or thunder showers will occur at times in the northern, eastern, north central, over, central and northwestern provinces. Fairly heavy showers above 75 millimeters are likely at some places in the northern, eastern, north central and northwestern provinces, as well as in the Matale district. Showers or thunder showers may occur at several places elsewhere over the island during the evening or night. Fairly strong winds of about 40 kilometers per hour can be expected at times over the northern, north central and northwestern provinces and in the Matale and Trincomalee districts. And as always, the general public is requested to take adequate precautions to minimize these damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers. Let's move on to international news now. Our first international item is coming in from Germany. Germany is heading for a snap election after Chancellor Olaf Scholz lost a vote of confidence, ending his fractious coalition government at a time of strain for the Eurozone's largest economy. Scholz's defeat yesterday paves the way for the dissolution of Parliament ahead of the early elections penciled in for February 23rd, 2025. In pre-election polling, the Chancellor and his centre-left Social Democrats are behind both the opposition CDU and far-right Alternative for Germany. Our second news item is coming in from Canada this morning. Canada's Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland has resigned from her post, citing disagreements with Prime Minister Justin Trudeau on how to respond to incoming President Donald Trump's threat of tariffs. She announced her resignation in a letter to Trudeau on Monday, in which she said the two have been at odds about the best path forward for Canada and pointed to the grave challenge posed by Trump's policy of quote-unquote aggressive economic nationalism. Freeland said the decision comes after Trudeau informed her last week that he no longer wanted her to be his government's top economic advisor. Her resignation came just hours before she was due to provide an annual fiscal government update in the Parliament of Canada. The move may push Trudeau's already shaky minority government to the brink. Our final international news item this morning comes in from the Middle East, Syria to be specific. Syria's former President Bashar al-Assad says he never intended to flee to Russia in what is purported to be his first statement since the fall of Damascus 8 days ago. His written statement was published on the Syrian presidency's Telegram channel and dated 16th December from Moscow, where he has been granted asylum by now. In it, he says that the Syrian capital fell to rebels. He went to a Russian military base in Latakia province to oversee combat operations, only to see that Syrian troops had abandoned their positions. In the statement published both in Arabic and English, the former Syrian leader reportedly describes what happened on the 8th of December and how he was apparently besieged at the Russian base. The statement reads, and I quote, "With no viable means of leaving the base, Moscow requested that the base's command arrange an immediate evacuation to Russia on the evening of Sunday, the 8th of December. This took place a day after the fall of Damascus, following the collapse of the final military positions and the resulting paralysis of all remaining state institutions. At no point during these events did I consider stepping down or seeking refuge, nor was such a proposal made by any individual or party. When the state falls into the hands of terrorism and the ability to make a meaningful contribution is lost, any position becomes void of its purpose," unquote. He was ousted after insurgent forces led by the Islamist Hayat Tahrir al-Sham swept through Syria in a lightning offensive, ending more than 50 years of iron-fisted rule by his family. Well, that news item brings to a close this morning's edition of the Breakfast Rundown. I'm Therunee Karunaratne. I'll see you once again right here on TV1 at 7 a.m. tomorrow. Until then, take care. Have a wonderful day ahead.